眼前这位小哥即将变身为一个中锤，他是美国科技圈里公认的顶流评测大神 Max Brownlee， 也是一个顶流 YouTuber。今天这哥们不知道在哪里搞了一辆中国的理想电动车，他实实在在的被惊掉了下巴，也让美国人知道中国科技实力真的不是吹的。
Okay, this car is sick. It's truly honestly, and I don't know where to start type situation with this thing. The number one thing that's top of mind when reviewing this EV is that you can't actually buy it here in the US. It's a Li Auto. They don't ship cars here yet, but if they did, I think they could crush. Because this thing has the most features, the most tech I think I've ever seen or experienced in an EV. It's got some of the craziest, most impressive stuff. There's just a lot going on. And all for kind of an unknown price because they don't exist here. But we got to take a look at this thing. This thing has been a hit in Whole Foods parking lots. It's been a hit around town, an eye catcher. It's the Li Auto Mega. And let's just jump right in. So look at this thing. This is a fully electric 3-row minivan. It's got about 350-ish miles of range, real-world range. It's got this incredibly sleek shape, which is obviously pretty futuristic, but also very aerodynamic, and that's what helps it get that great range. And then it happens to be, this is just totally side note, it happens to be basically the fastest charging EV in the world. They're claiming, and I haven't been able to do this on any charge in the US, but they're claiming 500 plus kilowatts of charging, 10 to 80% in 10 minutes, something crazy like that. So that's awesome.
10分钟从10%冲到80%，美国人看了绝对要傻眼。在美国特斯拉也做不到中国快充，直接把未来搬到眼前。小哥震惊的表情太真实了，这波只能感叹一句：中国速度就是快。
But then there's a whole bunch of tech associated inside, right? You get to the front, so that this isn't actually a front trunk. It kind of looks like it could be, but this is a nice bar light at the front here, uninterrupted. It's called the Halo. It's kind of their signature look. And then, yeah, it's got this Jetsons look to it. This is, like I said, it's kind of a hit. A lot of people were wondering, like, what is that thing? What is that big sloped vehicle? So I think there's safely 3 themes with this car. One of them would be simplicity. One of them would be luxury. And one of them would be family, which sounds like a movie reference, but it's not. You're going to see what I mean in a second. By the way, that's the light bar on, so you can see pretty obvious looking on the road. But, okay, on the outside, obviously it's super simple. Super smooth lines, just the LiDAR at the top. That sensor is what's going to be auto park and adaptive cruise control. And then you got the real headlights down there and these big, thick Michelin tires. This whole thing is riding on what they're calling the Magic Carpet air suspension. And I'm not exaggerating. I think it's the softest, best riding air suspension I've ever driven. I'm thinking of things like the Rolls-Royce Spectre, the Maybach. It's super, super isolating from the road, and you feel like you're kind of just coasting along in this big bubble. But yeah, shout out to the Magic Carpet air suspension. Really, really impressive.
魔毯空气悬挂，以前只在劳斯莱斯迈巴赫上见过，如今理想直接标配，开起来像飘在云端一样。美国评测小哥再次表示不可思议。
But then, of course, you get to the side, you got to be aerodynamic, right? So you've got these mirrors popping out here, and the door handle did pop out, but it's flush to the vehicle when it's locked. That's a side view camera. And then these don't even pop out. That's just a button to open the second row, which I'll get to, don't worry. You've got this cap here, which I can actually just pop out like that, and that's your charger. In the US, again, different charging standards, but that all still works. And then it's got this big dramatic slope here at the bottom, and this big bar taillight. I kind of like that. Again, more cameras on the back. So simple, very simple design. But I'm going to start off by getting in the front row for you because this is where you start to see the other themes of luxury and family. So driver's seat. Okay, again, there's a lot. Now, whenever I try to review something, whenever anyone tries to review something, the price is always kind of in the back of your head as you go through it. It's harder with this because this isn't shipping here, and importing one and trying to take the equivalent price, that's not really the price you'd get it for, but just to give you a ballpark idea, this would translate to like $60,000 to $80,000 range, roughly, to get one of these. That's pretty great. And when you go through all the features in this vehicle, it seems even more impressive, right? So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. There's your steering wheel. It's heated. These seats are super comfortable, and they've got these extra cushy pillows, which I'm always a fan of. But these are also heated, ventilated, and massaging front seats. And then in general, it's not too complicated as far as like getting into using it. There are 2 3K OLED touchscreens here that are pretty dang responsive if you ask me. I mean, not a lot of cars are more responsive than this. The thing about living with this is a lot of it is in Well,
be careful of bumping the screen.
Okay, so there's your first hint. A lot of it is in Chinese, and a lot of it is in kilometers and in units, and they're not connected to networks here in the US, so it doesn't really know the maps here. It doesn't really know things that it's supposed to. So like I can't actually load up any of these shows, but these are all movies and things and TVs that you can watch if you're sitting here in this seat on this OLED screen, which is pretty cool. If I also ever get my head too close to this back seat screen, it like warns me with the GPT powered assistant, which again, I can't really use because it's not really English, but it knows when you get too close to that screen. Okay, so again, front seat, there is no screen right behind the steering wheel, but you may notice there is an HUD. Oh, that actually focused. That's amazing. And there's also a screen on the steering wheel, which gives you your remaining range, which again, that's the WLTC standard, so it's a little bit off, but something like 350 miles total range. You can also change your drive modes. I probably have to be on. Let me put my foot on the brake. There you go. Ready. And drive modes. I'm in sport right now. So you can see stuff like that all the time when you're driving, so I don't really find that I need another screen behind the steering wheel. And the rest of the stuff is over here, kind of like a Tesla. Anytime you want to jump into something like your cameras or your navigation, which isn't going to load all the way, but you get the idea, it's all always there, which is pretty sweet. Also, if you're doing the self-driving stuff, it also appears on here as well. So there you go. Really responsive software. Well done. But when I say family is the other theme, you think of like a full family of like six or, I mean, this is 7 seats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's like 3 generations of people in here. There's the parents, the grandparents, and the babies. And they all need to be able to use this and live with this fairly easily. It kind of ties into the simplicity of it. Big, obvious door handle, right? A shelf for storage above some more storage. Every single speaker is circular and really obvious. The air vents are really simple, like nothing too crazy. And then also just bursting with tech. This is the key fob. It drops right here. 2 50-watt wireless chargers in the front. Simple cup holders here. Then again, some more USB Type-C, which is power, but then also recording, that's a flash drive for your Sentry mode and your dash cam, because these cameras are good enough to actually do that. So if someone comes up to the car while you're away, you get some nice HD footage of them on your card, which is great. Gosh, there's so much. I'm just in the front seat going over all this stuff. There's 21 speakers in this car, and it has Dolby Atmos support. The speakers sound pretty good, but there's also just all these extra modes of like things you can adjust in the speakers. It gave me EQ settings. I'm going to have a hard time finding it now because there were so many. Here's Tune Master. All these presets, which I couldn't read, but I would poke around and change the settings and I would hear the difference. There is a lot going on with customization of the audio, which just that was awesome to me. Temperature controls in Celsius. I mean, none of this stuff is going to shock you if you own a car outside of the US, but yeah, a lot of really good stuff going on here. Lighting, sport mode, there's a drive modes again. It's crazy. That's just the front seat. That's just the front seat. But you already know, this is feeling like a speed tour. We got to get to the second row because there's way more to talk about. So, press that little button right there. Again, it's still flush. You don't need any moving parts. That big minivan style door slides open and you've got your second row, which is these big jetliner executive style seats. We'll get to that third row in a second, but these are heated, cooled, and massaging. Again, they've got this calf rest. They've moved forward and backward a lot. And you sit down and you've got yourself like, 7 series type legroom. This is incredible. Over here, it's even more. There's a ton of legroom here. And then I'm going to close it actually with this little switch right here. And you got this huge screen up here, another OLED. And there's also a sensor right here, which actually does a lot. So you can close it if you want or open it. But this second row experience is kind of where you want to be. Again, big, cushy, like comfortable, nice, like seats to be in. There's your 2 cup holders in the middle if you want them there. And then, okay, couple important things. 1, all your HVAC controls are here. 2, this is a refrigerator / heater. So right now it's got the refrigeration going and it's cooled these drinks and they're ice cold, which is awesome. But they can also heat, which is literally a family thing. Like if you have baby formula or like drinks or little things you want to keep warm, you can do that in here. Also, this vehicle's kind of a hit. People are like, what is that thing? I got to stop and check it out. I got to look at it. But the last thing is the screen up here is gesture controlled. So I guess the only way to show you how this works is basically I hold my hand on the armrest like this and a little cursor dot appears on that touchscreen and I move my hand around and it is moving. Yeah, you can see that. It's moving around and I can just drag stuff over like this. And I can watch, again, there's tons of shows and there's no internet connection, so it's not going to work right now, but all of that gesture control works. I can even grab something and throw it onto the front co-pilot display and it's going to say no internet. But the fact that I can do that at all is kind of sick. So this whole entertainment system back here is very advanced.
哇，这也太未来了吧！小哥隔空挥挥手，屏幕就跟着动，光标像魔法一样出现，这操作简直像科幻片现场，手势控制太丝滑了。
Oh, and don't forget 2 more personal 50-watt wireless chargers for your phone. Okay, we haven't even made it to third row. Let's move back to the third row. This is getting crazy. Now, there's a little bit of a shimmy to get back here because these 2 jetliner seats are so close together that's the only corridor you have unless you full-on move these seats up. But then you get to the back, and with that crazy legroom you just saw, I can sit behind that seat, and I still have decent legroom. That's like 5 Series type legroom if you want to spread everybody out. These are also heated seats. There's also USB Type-C if you want it, and cup holders, and a little bit more speaker stuff going on back here. So this is a pretty solid third row. I would say not even close to, like the Rivian R1S we just had on the channel is like a very, very cramped 2 seats in the back. This is a very fair, like this is the second row of the Rivian, but it's the third row of the Mega. But I'm going to end this little interior tour actually by getting back to the second row because...
Be careful of bumping the screen.
Sorry, it keeps telling me I'm close to the screen. And you're right. Sorry, I shouldn't be quite so close. But there's something in this second row called nap mode. So if you think of this as like a family vehicle that's almost like a mobile home and you feel like you can nap in it at any time, I almost forgot to mention that. You can put those shades up. So you can turn on nap mode and just take a nap in here, which is just 2 taps away. You hit nap mode and you go, yeah, let's take a 10-minute nap. And if you even want, you can add some sounds. You could do totally silent, or you could just do something like forest. Hit enable nap. Right away, this starts closing up top. The seats in front start moving forward. My seat's reclining. The calf rest is coming up, and I am suddenly much more likely to take a nap. I don't know if you hear that, but it's playing this very serene forest sound. It's also a little countdown timer to my 5-minute nap. That's sick. I mean, this is the stuff that you saw. Remember the BMW i7? I'm going to end the nap, actually. But the BMW i7 had this, like, super recline mode. Like, if this was some type of Uber, it would be the greatest thing ever. There's so many things about this car, and there's even more that I haven't even pointed out, that are pretty sick. They are absolutely incredible. All of these things would be, like, thousands of dollars of options on basically any other EV, any other car that I review. But they're all part of the Mega, this flagship vehicle for them. I think that's pretty sick. Now, fun fact, if you like a lot of this interior, a lot of these features, these screens, the roof and the seats and everything that I've been talking about, but you don't want the shape of what the Li Auto Mega is, well, they also have a little something called the L9, which is actually more of their more reasonable / attainable. This is their real flagship, I would say. This is the same thing, the same 3 rows, but in the shape of a more traditional SUV. And I like it a lot. To be honest, it's a little less futuristic looking. It still has that bar that we talked about, but it's more integrated into the shape of the front of the thing. But I think what's more important is this one is actually a hybrid. It doesn't actually run from the gas directly to the wheels. It's always driving via EV power, but the gas engine... But the gas engine is being used to power and charge back up the battery. So you're actually always driving the same way, always quietly on EV power. But the gas engine gives you that constant peace of mind that if you can find a gas station and fill up with gas, you can immediately start driving again, which is pretty sick. It is always typically pretty silent. There is sometimes, though, a little bit of a hum that you can hear of the gas engine running. So that is the main difference, is there is a gas tank and there's a little bit of space taken up for that in the L9. But if you're not about the Mega, if you're not about the full EV thing, then you can get that peace of mind here in that sort of hybrid system. And I think a lot of people will actually make that choice. So here's my question to you, and I actually want to know what you think in the comment section. If you saw this driving around and you realized that you could get one over the other options, let's just put this at $80,000. Let's say it's 80 grand. Would you pick this over the other $80,000 options, over the Model X, over an R1S that you could get for that much money? There's a lot of things that I really like with 3 rows that are very practical and very fun and electric. And this makes a case for being one of the best ones.